You will need some sleepless nights. Not because some hustle culture told you to keep grinding. Not because some podcast bro told you that sleep is for the weak. But because you've been avoiding the real work for far too long now. You've wrapped your excuses in self-care. And now that you're sitting in a life that feels safe, it's not sacred. You feel, a disturbance within your life. Your life feels structured but not sharp. Rested but restless. So there's a version of you that only reveals itself at 2 a.m. Not the you that goes to the gym and tracks her macros, not the you that makes mood boards and writes to-do lists and makes habit trackers and shit. I'm talking about the version of you that stares down your real potential, your real calling, and sees how far you've drifted from it. That version doesn't want your fucking balance. That version doesn't want a life of, work-life balance, blah, blah, blah. That version wants your obsession. That version doesn't want comfort. It wants commitment. Most people will never feel this version of themselves because they'll never go there. They'll touch the edge of ambition and then run the other way as soon as they get into any sort of predicament. They'll always do just enough. A little improvement, a little effort, day by day, a little push, But no transformation has ever come from a little bit. Real change asks for real sacrifice. It asks for your comfort, and it asks you to throw your fucking comfort away, and it tells you to give it your control, and sometimes that requires giving up some sleep. The truth is, you're not behind because life is some unfair game based on luck and bullshit like that. Instead, you're behind because you let your dreams be treated like some little part-time gig that you do on the side. You show up when it's convenient for you, you only work on your dreams when you're in the mood for it. You give your leftover energy to it after the day job, after the social scrolls, after the Netflix episode that somehow turned into 4. And still, you wonder why nothing ever moves. You wonder why you're so unlucky in life and, you can never achieve your goal. You wonder why you never feel proud and why the life you're in doesn't feel earned. And it's simply because you've never gone all in to feel like you've done something. There's something really sacred and peaceful about staying up past the point of tired when it's for something that actually matters. Something that you've been delaying for weeks. Something that scares you because you know it has the power to fucking change you. The kind of work that doesn't happen in half an hour Pomodoro sessions. It doesn't show up between coffee breaks. It doesn't show up when anything else is on. It only comes when everything else is turned off. It comes when the noise, the guilt, the safety nets, and every single thing that you've been afraid to get rid of. Once they're gone, that is when the true work arrives. And once you sit with the things that you've actually been trying to run away from and the things you've been trying to get rid of, that is the real kind of work. That's the kind of work that forges you as a person. Not the fake hard stuff, the busy for busy's sake. I'm talking about the genuine work that humbles you. The work that breaks you open and shows you what's underneath every single one of your distractions. The work that demands every single thing that you are. And every single thing that you're afraid to be. You'll hear people say that sleep is essential, and they're right. REM cycles matter a lot. Brain recovery matters a lot. Recovery of your body as a whole is very important. But so does urgency. So does momentum. If you're waiting until life hands you a fucking piece of paper with some perfect conditions on it to start moving, you've already lost because there's somebody out there working a million times harder than you. There's someone out there sleeping 2 less hours than you, meaning they're getting in 14 more hours a week. There will never be a perfect day to get started. There will never be a schedule where everything aligns and you can finally feel ready to start. The only thing you'll ever have is your now and your willingness to bleed into it. One night where you refuse to tap out. One night where you sit with the mess, you sit with the chaos, and you sit with the fear. One night where you finish that script. Write that email and send it. Fix that broken piece of code. Write the first chapter of your book. Design that prototype. One night where you finally prove to yourself that you're not just a talker, that you can build, that you can create, and that you can deliver. Because the true uncomfortable truth is that most people do not fail because they're incapable. They fail because they flinch. Because the second it gets hard, they'll fold. The moment that if it's boring for them, they'll scroll or they'll put on some YouTube in the background or they'll put on a Netflix show. The moment it gets uncomfortable, they'll call it self-care and they'll call it a day. But not you. I'm not allowing you to do that this time. Because tonight you will sacrifice your sleep. And not because you hate yourself, but because you love what you're building towards. You love who you can become, what kind of person you can be, the potential you hold. You love it enough to suffer for it. You give up a night of dreams so that you can take one more step towards living in them. And yes, it won't feel good. Your eyes will burn, your head will ache, maybe the next day you'll feel like complete shit, and you'll want to quit halfway through it and justify a million ways. But when that sun rises, you can realize that you actually did the thing. Not thought about it, not fantasized about it, not say I'll do it tomorrow morning, not procrastinated it. You actually did it. Something will change once you realize that. You'll start to actually trust yourself again. And that's a beautiful feeling. Because now, every time you tell yourself, I will do it, it's not a lie. It's not a someday. It's not a promise backed by nothing. Instead, it becomes a promise backed by evidence. And that self-trust is the beginning of everything. Some nights are for rest. Others are for war. Tonight is war. Against your apathy. It's war against your excuses. It's war against that version of you that's always negotiating with comfort. You don't need balance right now. You need hunger. You need to see it through to the end. Because the more you check that clock, the more you wait for motivation, the more you wonder if this is healthy for you, you won't get closer to your goals. There'll be someone else doing it a million times stronger than you. And the more that you stay distracted from the things that you want to actually do, the longer that you delay yourself from actually committing them, the harder they'll get in the future. Healthy is understanding that building a life that you don't have to escape from is healthy. I kind of fucked that up. Basically, I'm saying that being healthy, being balanced, is building a life that you don't have to escape from, that you don't have to go to sleep towards. Instead, you want to build a life that you are happy to work towards, a life that you want to work towards, a life that you desire. And sometimes to build that life, you need to lose a little sleep. You will recover. You will be able to sleep tomorrow, but tonight you will work. And if you've watched all the way to the end of this video, I promise you, you have to do that work. Otherwise, you're a failure. For once in your life, grab your fucking balls and do it. Please, do it for yourself.